Okay, I think we're talking about Micromax now. Yeah, you may have heard the news a couple of days ago. Micromax unveiled that they're coming back with two new phones with their new IN or IN series of smartphones. Basically, phones which are made in India apparently. Micromax is an Indian company, and for the longest time, people have thought that it's just a Chinese company. And they haven't been doing really well in the past few years. You probably already know that. But I guess now they are coming back with this campaign to abolish Chinese products and I don't know, speak to the patriotic people. But to me, it just looks like a pretty poor attempt of making a phone and trying to sell it, because unlike every other company, they're not really talking about their product in general. They're just talking about how their phone as a concept is better than these Chinese phones out there. Now, yes, I get that we have to switch away from Chinese products to reduce their influence on us, but does that mean that we switch to anything else that we get our hands on? I mean, if companies like Samsung have been making their phones in India for a very long time. Now again, I'll be accused of being a Samsung fanboy, which I am not. I'm just saying that my Galaxy Note 9, which is a 2018 smartphone, it still has a fine print on its back that says manufactured in India. So even this 2-year-old phone is made in India 2 years ago. So it's not something new that Micromax is doing, that they're making phones in India, but it's the way in which they're going about it, which I don't really like. The reason why Micromax is doing this is pretty obvious. It's summarized very well in this comment, which I'm going to steal. There was actually a time when people used to look forward to buying a Micromax phone. Too bad that's not the case now. It's nothing new. It happens to pretty much every business out there. Something starts off and gains traction, and then slowly something else takes its place in popularity, and this slowly reduces in the popularity that it originally had. Same thing happened to Micromax. If you remember back in 2012 or 2013 when I was in high school, you didn't even need any kind of advertisement. People would go and explicitly ask which is the new Micromax phone. Because they were that well invested, and 3G was the new technology back then, and they had plenty of chipsets out there. But we all know what happened. Xiaomi came in with their 4G chipsets, and since Micromax was heavily invested in 3G, they couldn't really switch to 4G quickly, and yeah, they lost their market share. Once upon a time, they were bigger than Samsung in India, but now they're not even in the top 20, I suppose. So when a company faces this level of competition and they have basically nothing to lose, they go for these kind of less than ideal marketing strategies. I mean, the whole slogan behind this phone seems to be "Aao kare chini kam," which means, chini is a Hindi word for sugar, which also kind of sounds like Chinese. I think it's a very poor joke and pretty racist, I think. I mean, I don't know. Well, people are pretty riled up against China at this moment, so Micromax is simply trying to use that advantage and try to push something out in the name of a phone. So many people may not even look at it as a phone rather than a statement that we don't want Chinese products. Now, this channel, we don't talk about politics and what's right and what's wrong. We just talk about gadgets, right? We are simple people. So let's take a simple, non-biased approach towards this and look at this as a product launch. That's it. A new product is coming out and we are talking about it. Okay, that's all. Now, Lenovo, if you remember, they did the same thing a few years ago, or maybe not even a few years ago. Just 1 year ago, they were launching a new phone, which was the Lenovo Z5. We knew that there was a phone coming out, but they were also launching some other products with it. But in a tweet that their Twitter account had, they unveiled basically 4 new specs which we thought were belonging to the phone. So they said that they are releasing an upcoming gadget which has 1 terabyte of storage, some crazy 16 gigs of RAM, 5,000 or maybe 10,000 milliamp hour battery, stuff like that. But these turned out to be different products, not the Lenovo Z5 itself. One of them was a storage bank, one of them was a power bank. So these were different products which were misleadingly marketed as the phone's features, which was not really the case. Now, people were understandably disappointed, but Lenovo had very little market share, and well, this controversial tweet got people talking about the company, and I'm sure that many people ended up buying the Lenovo Z5, which they otherwise wouldn't have before. They say there is no such thing as bad publicity, and that's really true. I mean, if people know your company's name, whether it's for good reason or a bad reason, that doesn't matter. They still know your name, and if 100 people know it, maybe at least 10 people will end up being your customers. And that's exactly what Micromax is trying to do. They were a popular name back in the day, but now they're just trying to come back and appeal to their Indian audience, saying that we don't want China, even though they literally have a Chinese chipset. Now, I think that's the biggest issue that no one is addressing. You see, it's important that we abolish China's influence and everything, but China has some of the world's largest silicon makers out there. MediaTek, which is a Taiwanese company, is under the control of China. Huawei, which is an incredible innovator in 5G tech and neural processors, that's a Chinese company. And aside of Qualcomm, I don't think there is any other company outside of China that's making processors. Well, Intel was making mobile CPUs, but they were not very popular anyway. So other than Qualcomm, everything else has to come from China. So you can't say ban China if you're not willing to go with Qualcomm. And since these are budget phones, I think the Micromax In 1A and both the 1 are coming under 15,000 rupees margin, which makes them a very budget friendly option. And Qualcomm processors are slightly expensive, which Micromax doesn't want to put in their phone. So they're going back to the MediaTek route and they're saying Chini come and all these things. You see what I mean? This is all just marketing gimmicks, just like how Apple says that they are going to be environmentally friendly and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is all these things that the companies say, they're just marketing tricks. Don't believe them and don't fall for them emotionally. Like, don't attach yourself saying that this is a very patriotic company that's looking for the betterment of people. They're just after profits and nothing else. Now, there's nothing wrong with making a profit. I mean, that's how businesses work. But you shouldn't really disguise your intention for making profit as a righteous need which is above business or something like that. You are still a company, Micromax. You're doing this to make money. Just keep it at that. Just say that this phone is made in India and just remind people that you are an Indian company. That's all. Don't say all these Chini come and abolish China and all these things. Don't be a religious political party. Now again, I'm not saying anything against buying these Make in India phones. I mean, they are manufactured in India for the most part, and if the company is willing to put some kind of a facility in India like Samsung has with the largest facility in Noida, that's great. The basic reason why they do that is that so they can pay the government less taxes, because at least 30% of their parts need to come from India. That's why iPhones are so expensive, because Apple parts are not made in India in any way. But whatever the reason may be, most of the Samsung phones out there, and including Micromax's phones, are made in India for the most part. The processors and the motherboards and everything come from China, but they are assembled and the body and everything is made in India. So that's great. But only keep it at that. Don't hype it to a level where it gets emotional and political. Now, if you're trying to make a political statement out of this, that I don't care about the phone, I don't want anything related to China, then that's fine. I mean, it's your money. You can put it wherever you want. That's what she said. But still, you can buy any phone that you want. I mean, I'm not stopping you, or no one else will. It's just that when you're buying a phone, just look at it as a product first. Just make sure you're only using apps from reputed developers, and just see what are the permissions that those apps are requesting. And for the love of God, don't buy one of those horrible Xiaomi MIUI phones with ads and everything on top. You'll never know if a malware comes bundled along with that. Buy something from another manufacturer which doesn't give you ads, pay a little bit more, because you'll be only buying a phone once every 2 years or so. Make that investment and buy a good phone. Good goods can sometimes be cheap, but cheap goods don't necessarily always be good. So, you know. I mean, Helio G35 and some 3 gigs of RAM, that's fine. It's a good phone. If it does come out in the 15,000 rupees price tag, it's a decent phone. There are many videos out there, you can check it out. I'm not interested in the phone that much. I mean, it's not anything special, but again, the only reason why we are talking about this is Micromax's over-the-top branding for this. There is no such thing as bad publicity. Anyway, that was about the Micromax In series phones, the In 1 and 1A. It's such a weird name. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. Sure, it's made in India and everything, that's great, but it's still a phone at the end of the day. So if you're not happy with the phone, then you're not happy, that's it. So don't put any serious emotions on top of it, and just buy from a good company and keep it with you for a good time. Well, those were my thoughts about the Micromax In series. What do you think? Do you think I'm completely wrong, or am I missing something? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you with the next one. Cheers.